There are moments in life when we realize strength isn't always visible, it isn't loud, and it doesn't announce itself the way fear does. True strength lives quietly beneath the surface, an inner force built from discipline, clarity, and the refusal to let destructive emotions guide our lives. Those who walk this path carry something within them that negativity, malice, and chaos cannot reach. It isn't magic, it isn't mystical. It is simply the result of a mind that has learned, through struggle and reflection, to remain untouchable. As Epictetus said, no person is free who is not master of himself, and this mastery becomes a kind of shield. Today we look at 4 signs that you carry such a shield, a spirit that darkness cannot penetrate. Sign 1, you do not react, you respond. People who are easily shaken explode at insults, break under pressure, and let someone else's mood dictate their day. But we learn to pause, to breathe, to create distance between stimulus and action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Most people hear these words, but only a few live by them. When you carry a spirit darkness cannot touch, your power lies in your ability to stay still while others unravel. You don't mirror hostility. You don't bend to manipulation. You don't let chaos enter through the door of your emotions. Instead, you respond from a place that is stable, grounded, and deliberate. People may try to provoke you. Life may try to overwhelm you. But you refuse to give your inner peace away cheaply. By practicing self-control, by mastering the tiny daily battles within, you become unreachable. Darkness feeds on reaction, but you do not feed it, and that makes you untouchable. Sign 2. You refuse to let bitterness shape your heart. There is a kind of power that most people will never understand. A power that doesn't come from aggression, control, or dominance, but from the quiet decision to remain uncorrupted in a corrupt world. The weak think that retaliation proves strength. The wise know that restraint does. We live in a world where people often choose spite over growth, resentment over understanding, and revenge over inner peace. But those who carry an untouchable spirit, those who walk with a calm fire inside them, move differently. They refuse to let bitterness make decisions for them. They refuse to let anger write their story. This is not softness. This is discipline. This is the strength that terrifies darkness itself. Seneca wrote, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Bitterness is exactly that. Unnecessary suffering willingly carried. It poisons clarity, warps judgment, and blinds us to our own potential. A mind filled with resentment becomes easy to manipulate because it reacts instead of thinking. It clings instead of letting go. It repeats old wounds instead of healing them. But we, those who strive for mastery over the self, we understand something deeper. Letting go is not weakness. It is liberation. We refuse to let hostile people dictate who we become. We refuse to let disappointment harden us into someone we were never meant to be. And this refusal is what makes the spirit powerful, untouchable. Darkness cannot influence someone who has burned away bitterness. Why? Because bitterness is the doorway through which manipulation enters. People who carry resentment are predictable. They can be provoked, triggered, controlled. But the one who forgives, not for the sake of the offender, but for the preservation of their own mind, is a threat to every force that feeds on chaos. Epictetus warned, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit." So we train the mind to stop being complicit, to stop giving the world permission to disturb our internal state, and slowly, through discipline, through reflection, through painful self-honesty, we grow into someone who sees life with a new clarity. Instead of asking, "Who hurt me?" we ask, "Why should their actions dictate my next step?" Instead of asking, "How can I get even?" we ask, "How can I stay aligned with my values?" This shift is the birth of invincibility. People often misunderstand this kind of inner strength. They think you're cold when really you're controlled. They think you're distant when really you're discerning. They think you don't feel when in truth you feel everything. But you refuse to let emotions govern your actions. You do not seek revenge because revenge is a chain. You do not seek dominance because dominance is insecurity disguised as strength. You do not cling to grudges because grudges are emotional prisons. You walk away, not because you're afraid, but because you won't let hostility settle inside your mind. You let things go, not because you're weak, but because you won't become what hurt you. You stay calm, not because you lack fire, but because your fire is directed inward, fueling discipline, not destruction. This is the kind of spirit darkness cannot touch. A spirit that refuses to be shaped by negativity. A spirit that stays true to itself even when the world tries to twist it. We do not control everything, but we control this, the kind of soul we choose to carry. And when that soul rejects bitterness, refuses needless suffering, and stands firm in self-mastery, nothing destructive can find a home inside it. Sign 3. Your stability cannot be shaken by the storms of others. There is a rare kind of power that does not announce itself with noise, anger, or force. It lives in silence. It lives in the person who is not moved by the emotional storms of those around them, no matter how chaotic, manipulative, or unpredictable those storms become. Most people collapse the moment someone raises a voice at them. They break the moment someone disrespects them. Their peace is fragile, easily shattered by the moods and behaviors of others. But the one who carries a spirit untouched by darkness moves differently. Their stability does not depend on the outside world. It is built from within, forged through discipline, reflection, and constant confrontation with their own impulses. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And this strength becomes terrifying to harmful people because they cannot pull you into their chaos. They cannot provoke you into self-destruction. They cannot destabilize your inner foundation. You become unreadable to those who rely on emotional reaction. You become undefeatable to those who thrive on confusion. You become unreachable to those who feed on fear. When someone tries to manipulate you through guilt, your clarity dismantles their strategy. When someone attempts to belittle you, your silence fractures their power. When someone tries to drag you into conflict, your calm presence dissolves the fire before it spreads, because your emotions do not live in their hands. This is the spirit darkness cannot touch, the spirit that refuses to let another human become the master of its inner world. But here is the truth most people avoid. This level of peace isn't natural, it is built through struggle. We had to learn painfully that reacting gives away power. We had to learn that not all battles deserve our energy. We had to learn that some people create storms just to feel important. And so we trained ourselves to step back, to breathe before responding, to observe before absorbing, to understand before engaging. What once triggered us no longer does. Not because we don't feel, but because we now understand that feeling should never control fate. What once disturbed our peace no longer gets access to us, not because we're distant, but because we finally protect the sanctuary of our mind. The Stoic researcher Pierre Hadot wrote that ancient philosophers practiced spiritual exercises, disciplines that trained the mind to remain steady and grounded. This steadiness is what sets us apart today. This steadiness is what makes the spirit powerful. Those who move with inner stability become impossible to manipulate. When you don't respond to provocation, the provocateur loses purpose. When you don't collapse under pressure, the oppressor loses leverage. When you don't mirror hostility, the hostile lose direction. Your calmness becomes your defense. Your restraint becomes your shield, your consciousness becomes your armor, and something else happens, something subtle but profound. People who carry darkness avoid you. They realize your spirit cannot be contaminated. They see that your stability doesn't bend to their mood swings, drama, or emotional games. You stop being a target because you refuse to play the role they assign you. This is why your spirit is untouchable. Not because you are perfect, but because you have chosen mastery over reaction. Not because life is easy for you, but because your mind no longer kneels before every disturbance. Not because you don't feel pain, but because you have learned how to bear it without letting it reshape you. In a world full of emotional storms, the one who remains steady becomes a force that even darkness steps back from. And that steadiness is the mark of a spirit that cannot be touched. Sign 4. You possess a moral compass that cannot be bought, bent, or broken. There is a kind of strength the world rarely speaks about because it is not loud, glamorous, or easily seen. It is the strength of a person whose integrity cannot be purchased, persuaded, or corrupted. A person whose inner compass remains pointed toward what is right, even when the world pressures them to abandon their principles. This is one of the clearest signs that a spirit cannot be touched by darkness. Your soul refuses to betray itself. Most people shift their morals based on convenience. They bend their values for approval, attention, or temporary gain. They compromise their beliefs the moment they fear being alone or misunderstood. But those who carry an untouchable spirit do not move in this way. They know that the greatest danger is not losing people, money, or status. The greatest danger is losing oneself. Seneca wrote, "A good person dyes events with his own color and turns whatever happens to his own benefit." Meaning, character shapes the world you move through, not the other way around. Your spirit sets the tone, your values define your actions, your integrity builds your destiny, and this terrifies people who operate in deception, manipulation, and hidden agendas. Why? Because they cannot influence you. They cannot lure you into their games. They cannot tempt you with shortcuts. You become impossible to control because you have already chosen the harder path, the path of principle. Your moral compass becomes a shield, not because it makes you rigid, but because it anchors you when the world tries to drift you into darkness. People will try to pull you into gossip, but you stay silent. People will try to provoke you into revenge, but you choose dignity. People will try to pressure you into actions that contradict your beliefs, but you refuse, not because you're better, but because you know the cost of self-betrayal. Those who carry an untouchable spirit understand something most people never learn. Peace is impossible when you are at war with your own conscience. Darkness tries to create that war. It whispers, "Just this once." It offers shortcuts, attention, or validation, hoping you'll trade your identity for ease. But you do not trade, you do not bend, you do not abandon your values just to fit into a world built on illusions. The Stoic scholar Donald Robertson wrote that ancient philosophers saw virtue not as a moral rule, but as a skill, something practiced, strengthened, and refined. Your untouchable spirit is the result of this inner training. It is the proof of your discipline. And here is the truth people won't say out loud. When you have a moral compass that cannot be shaken, you become immune to corruption. You become unreachable to manipulation. You become unbreakable in situations that would destroy others. This is why darkness cannot touch you, because you are guided by something deeper than fear, temptation, or ego. You are guided by a principle the world can't buy, and therefore it can't break. Get exclusive content and deeper insights. Join our membership today. Link in the description. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the Stoic Verse for more wisdom to guide your journey.